So there's a whole lot to catch up on here and discuss what finally fixed the color issue I had. So as I tested further on our RevZero board, I didn't have color. I actually discovered this when I began to implement the color killer circuit, which is here but unhooked, and discovered I just didn't have color. And I spent a whole lot of time with the logic probe. I've got a couple of pins here to the logic probe to pick up power, looking at ICs, swapping ICs, looking at signals, and just not making, nothing I did seemed to fix it. And a couple of days back on a forum, there was a comment about the crystal being the issue, the main system clock crystal, which is sitting down here. I then was researching further and saw somebody else post the crystal was his issue, so I pulled the crystal out I was using right here. It's a 14.31818 megahertz crystal. It's the right one. It's from the 87th week, or from the 9th week of 8701, I believe. Boy, let me step back. The 9th week of 87, I believe, is when that was manufactured. I pulled that crystal out and I put in the crystal from a known working Apple II. In this case, this board. This is the board I've been swapping parts out of into this board. Pulled the crystal out and put it in, and I have color. This has been a long journey getting to color. So other things that have happened here, I think since the last update, or there's of course feed on the board. I've just got some about half-inch spacers under the board to hold it up off the desktop. I've added a reset switch, which is sitting right here, power LED and reset switch. This just simply switches pin 3, I believe it is, on the keyboard connector to ground. That's because the keyboard I'm using here doesn't have a reset switch on it. This is a Keytronics parallel ASCII keyboard that I've rebuilt. It's had the foam and foil pads replaced and cleaned. It was tore all the way down and cleaned, etc. It's got a bounce issue right now with the V key. I'm going to have to take it apart one more time. I suspect the foam pad isn't in the correct place. Why are there little red dots? Where did those come from? I have no idea what those little red dots are. They're new. So the reset switch is new. The color killer is not hooked up. I swapped out the power supply. So you can see here I'm actually on a silver power supply. Looks like its date code is 16th week of 86. We were using this power supply, which I can't tell 21st week of 83. So is the silver newer? I thought the silver were older. Well, anyhow, I swapped out the power supply to see if that was the issue. I've spent hours with the logic probe and an oscilloscope, heads down here, trying to understand why color didn't work. I could see the color burst. So apparently the color burst frequency was off just enough the monitor couldn't latch onto it. So anyhow, let's run something here and demonstrate color. So let me get the program listed out here, and I'll try to be gentle with the camera. And hopefully this isn't going to overblow the screen, and it is. So let me bring the brightness way down. So got a little basic program here. You can see the color fringing because I suddenly have color. All this is going to do is draw some colored bars on the screen. And there they are. They're not showing up really well. The camera really doesn't like. It ends up overdriven here so bloody quick. Bring the brightness up. There are actually color bars in all the locations. Well, that's not too horrible. This is supposed to be white over here. It obviously isn't. I can bring up the tint and bring it closer to white. Anyhow, we have color. This should now be a fully working Apple II RevZero clone with the addition of color. It works. I'm very happy. And of course, there's the keyboard. Is there anything else I've done since my last update besides spend just hours and hours and hours? Get the camera back in the mount if I can. Oh, sorry about the jerky movement. It's gonna swing around here a little bit. Anything else to add? Not really. I guess kind of we've talked about everything. I've added a reset switch, so when power up we can reset it since there's no power up reset. I'll get the color killer hooked back up. The color trim pot here, we'll see if we can't trim white to be white, but as good as it's going to get. The trim pot, the choke, the capacitor, and this, well, those three components all came from the other board. This transistor came from the other board, so I started swapping analog parts between the boards, trying to track down why I didn't have color. I could see color bursts coming in. I could see it being modified a little bit. So anyhow, wasn't a logic problem. It was a crystal problem. I guess if I'd have just broke out a frequency counter, a good solid one, and measured, I could have told that it was, or seen that it was slightly off. The 14.31818 it is, I think, megahertz. And that frequency's picked because if you divide it by 4, you get to 3.579 megahertz, which is the color burst frequency. So, with me having color, I guess the next thing for me to move on to with this build will be probably trying to get it to boot floppy. That seems to be the next challenge some of these boards see. But really pleased to have a working Rev Zero that actually produces color. So anything else to cover in this update? I think we've hit all the highlights. This is a short video, I guess. I will see you in the next video.